around the world now. There's a lot of negativity, crazy, political stuff going on and everything. I just want people to have a good time, be able to dance and sing along. This is what it's about. We waited for this opportunity, and it's here now. Let's take it. It's hard work. It's real hard work, but it's worth it.
There he is, looking fucking cool with the freaking hat on, dude. That's bad.
Hey, you got the cool hat too, though, man.
It's all flat to my head. How are you, man?
I'm good, really good.
Good. So I'm just to let you know, I try to do one of these with recording the video as well, and it just comes out too spotty. So I'm just doing audio, but I'm putting in your clips of the things you put. I put one in the beginning somewhere, one in the middle, and one in the end.
Cool. Okay.
Cool, man.
So tell me more about the show, so I kind of know.
Yeah.
What's it about?
So basically, what I'm doing is it's called Real Singers on Singing, right? So as you know, like I got into vocal coaching, a few years back, and where I live, it's hard to do a lot of gigs. If I get called from Illy or Glenn to come down there, it's like, man, pays well, but by the time I get there and then get home, it could be a 2-day gig, and I'm really not getting paid, really. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
So I started putting my, efforts into vocal coaching and, teaching and stuff, because I'd studied with everybody. And what I started noticing was a lot of the teachers that I went to, like, none of them sing. I started getting really like, what was just like strange look on my face, like, what do you mean you don't sing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that started happening. I started noticing a lot until I met a coach that I still study with to this day. His name's Alex Cariotis, and he did the first podcast. So what I wanted to do was just interview, after I did the one with Alex, because he's got a really cool story. He studied with two of Pavarotti's early teachers, when he was
wow.
So, and he was real serious.
Epic.
Yeah, real serious about singing, about technique. Like, his technique, dude, is just dead on. It's it's crazy. How good. So he just wake up and it goes boom, B flats, high C's, whatever he wants. Like, and
Jesus,
and melt the paint off the wall.
Wow.
If you get a chance, check out that podcast, because I think you'll find it interesting. You know what I mean? You're into the art of it. So I just said, you know what? Because I listen to Joe Rogan's podcast every day, and I listen to a couple other Tim Ferriss and Jocko Willink and some podcasts. I'm like, and I started looking for singer podcasts, and there were some classical ones, but they never really get into it with the singer. What my want to hear about. So I said, I'm just going to contact everybody that I know that I like the way they sing, that I know had some kind of studying done in their life. They studied somewhere. So I did, I did Alex, and I just did one this morning with Ralph Sainz, Michael Starr from Steel Panther.
Oh, cool.
Because he's an old buddy of mine too. Because I used to play in the same bands, with him.
Cool.
Well, yeah, I'm just trying to get people that I respect and that were an influence. And the short time that I really got to know you when I was moving and you were moving here,
Yeah.
But I was like, I came to see you play at the piano bar. I was like, I'm coming to sing, bro. Like,
Totally. Thanks, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's so that's kind of like where I'm at. I just want to interview you. I'm trying. If you could think of anybody else for me to do, let me know.
I can definitely think. Yeah, I mean, I know so many working singers and grinders and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to think some other people to circle. I was thinking maybe what's her name, Jasmine.
Jasmine,
I did one gig with her, and she's been on the road doing Broadway. And I was like, she'd be good.
Another one that comes to mind is Levance. I don't know if you've ever worked with Levance, but he's on tour with the what are they called? The Postmodern Jukebox.
Okay.
Guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's slamming guy. Yeah. He's crazy.
Wow. And so and so you have two kids now?
Yep, 2 kids.
2 kids now. Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, they're sleeping in the other room, hopefully.
Nice. Nice. And, so I'll just get into it. Like, I'm just going to ask you a few questions. We won't go too long. You know what I mean? I won't make it too long.
Yeah.
But,
no.
Totally. So I had first heard of you when you had started coming down to do gigs. I hadn't done any gigs with you, but Glenn was having you come in. And I did a gig that you weren't on. And Mark Meadows was there. And I hear him. He's like, you got to hear this singer. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, who the fuck's this guy? Who's he talking about? Sticking my nose in him. Like, what do you mean?
Totally.
Who's coming? What do you mean? I wasn't on that gig? I was on.
Yeah.
And he was
That's
like,
the bass cowboy right there.
Yeah, he was like, you got to hear him, man. Danny, you'll love this dude, man. I know what you like, and you got to hear the singer. And then we did like a gig together, and I was just like, man. And then we talked. I mean, I could hear in your voice like some of the like the Donny Hathaway, and I was just like, I never hear anybody nail that dude, and that's been one of my biggest heroes,
Yeah.
And to hear someone like you sing and you really capture that element, like get into like, did you when your dad was a singer?
Yeah. I grew up singing in his band. Like he basically threw me soon as I could talk, soon as I could walk, he threw me up on stage and put me in a funny sailor costume thing, just like totally hamming it up and everything. And he had me sing he always had me sing a lot of the soul music that they did, and I ended up just falling in love with soul music. Like that's basically everything I listened to. Like actually it's sad, but like the Beatles were never heard in my house. Like we never listened to the Beatles, which I kind of regret in a way because of the songwriting so amazing. And I just wish that was a little more in my blood. But
then you got the Donny Hathaway side. I mean, talk about songwriting.
Yeah.
You got that whole
totally.
side,
Yeah. So, I didn't really, hear these other bands until later in my life, but I grew up, my dad, like blasting Luther Vandross when my friends were over in the swimming pool, and like they're wondering what the hell this is, because we're in a small town that it's just
you
like
were
a
in
farm
where are you from? Not San Francisco, but somewhere near there.
Originally from Chico, California, which is a little small college town. A lot of drinking, that's all you do is drinking.
It's all people up there.
Yeah. So yeah, man.
So you started with that, and you just threw you in there. You were getting into it, and then as you got older, I saw a little clip of you that you put up not long ago of you dancing, like when you were a kid.
Man. Yeah. I mean, I totally studied Michael Jackson's footwork like to the T, man. Like, I would actually film just my feet, and then like watch it back on the VHS, like
amazing,
and like A/B it to his feet, and like.
Right.
And I was like 11 years old doing that, and like, messing with video and trying to like, get better as a performer. Yeah.
Right now, and at that point, you hadn't really had any lessons at 11 years old. You were just singing. You just listened,
No.
trying to mimic the people that you liked.
Yeah, exactly. Like I did the whole, thing where you put on the headphones and then I had a karaoke machine. I'd record myself singing and then listening back and be like, that is horrible and garbage. Like trying to hit all these runs and it was just like was not clean. And but the people I was emulating were like Peebo Bryson was like my man, and like that's some of the hardest singing.
And that's where you get that. You've got that big. It's like you're a tenor, but you got that big, thick blower quality that a lot of singers don't have. The Justin Timberlake's nice voice and everything, but he doesn't have the body to his voice.
Yeah. And I experimented a lot as a kid with adding more of that bottom too. I got into kind of I kind of got off my genre, but I got into a lot of Hootie and the Blowfish for a minute.
Right.
And I was just adding like all this bass. Like some of the recordings I have are so funny. You can tell I'm like forcing it,
Okay.
But it's there naturally. So, and lately I've been trying to, I don't know, not have as much of that in my voice.
Okay.
Because I feel like a lot of contemporary stuff, people are used to that kind of tinny voice, kind of thinner and run through a bunch of, auto-tune and stuff, obviously.
Yeah, that's the sad thing. Guys like,
I
don't even want to hear that on your voice ever because your voice
word up.
Your instrument, it's such a nice sound. You just sit there, and I'm like going to see you at that piano bar. Like, I was just like, tell my wife right when I hadn't even heard you do any of that stuff. I'm like, we got to go because it's going to be enjoyable. Like that's my most for me as a singer and someone that I don't like going to see loud bands and I don't not really into dancing and everything like that. But I love to hear someone just sing and play an instrument or just sing. That's my favorite thing. And you've got that voice that just kind of fills the room with warmth. You know what I mean? It's
word up. Thank you.
When did you think? Because now I know you studied with Dave Stroud, who's a friend of mine as well, and I studied with him. When did you decide, like, hey man, I think I better get some lessons?
Yeah, I think when I put out a record in what was it 1998 or something. I was still in high school and I self-produced all that stuff and like did a big album release show and like did this whole thing. And then a producer that was teaching at the college, because that's like pretty much any music that's coming out of Chico is pretty much run through like the college. You know what I mean?
Right.
So basically this producer that knew of this singing camp, heard it. And he's like, you want to take your game to the next level. Like you need to go see Dave or Seth at the time.
Right.
And so I basically went to this camp and basically trying to widen my range without pushing too hard. Cause I've been pushing, I mean, it's basically my background of being in live bands, the sound is never good, especially with a rock. My dad's band was kind of like a rock band, 2 guitars, always, and the drummer that just can't stop hitting the snare as hard as he can.
Yeah.
So dealing with that, I naturally project when even it's not necessary.
Right.
So going to see these guys, it was actually like a very horrible experience in the beginning because with speech level, they're like, sing like you speak.
Right.
And that's completely opposite of what I was doing. I was basically yelling. If they told me to speak like I was singing, I'd be shouting at them. You know what I mean?
Right.
So basically I was told to go there just to, actually have longevity with my voice too, because you can only push so long,
Right.
So, yeah.
And then
that's the reason.
And so you were doing that. And you studied it. Do you still study now, or are you pretty much just kind of going by instinct with the stuff you learned?
Yeah, I go by instinct for sure. It's kind of a not really a choice. I mean, it gets very pricey, to go see. Like,
absolutely. I mean,
the heavy hitters are very expensive.
Yeah, it just shouldn't be that. They got crazy with it, and then all the teachers out, like, that came out even after them got even crazier with it. You know,
Right.
just like,
Right.
really? And then you ask that, and then you might go, well, can you sing? And no. And I
Right.
mean, you like me, I have a more, I'd rather go to someone I could kind of like mimic. Well, let me hear what you're doing. Because we do
Exactly.
so many different styles. Like you can go,
Right.
oh, you're doing that voice. Hold on, click, and then you kind of click into that style, right?
Totally.
Is there like warm ups that you still use? Is there anything that you do that you feels really kept you in line? Like some people do lip bubbles, some people do little falsetto sides, or
because of I actually had a vocal injury last year about this time.
Did you really?
Yeah, I don't think you knew that or not. Did I tell you that?
No.
Yeah,
What happened?
it was hardcore. So I'll just like try to make it as short as possible.
Yeah.
Throughout last year, I had to gig as much as I could because of the babies, you know, and my wife not being able to be at work at the time, you know.
Yeah.
So I was doing like 12 gigs in a row, and those gigs were like 5 hours, 4 hours a night. And then I'd have one day off and I'd do 8 in a row. And then I'd have maybe 2 days off was like a holiday for me. It was like glorious, you know? So if you stretch that out over a 12-month period, no singer should ever do that.
No.
Like that's to these singers listening out there, it's like, it's so serious to take a step back and figure out how to, you know, do something else to make income. If you're solely a singer, you know, figure out how to play the drums. I mean, that's actually what I ended up having to do. So
you were playing like you were doing the Mastros, right?
Yeah.
There, I would see you, like I would go to your thing and see how many nights you're playing there. Then I know you were doing the weekends with Glenn.
Yep.
You know, and then probably some other. And I was like, yeah, I mean that's grueling, man. Like I don't do that anymore.
Really,
I don't do it anymore, and I don't know if I could.
Yeah, no, for
real. Even though my
I,
technique's better, I don't think I could do it.
No, I think technique, it trumps that. It's just like, boom, that doesn't even matter because no human should be doing that. Even these huge artists that go on these tours, they don't gig that much, and they're only on stage for an hour and a half. You know, if they go 2 hours, that means they're awesome and you know, whatever. They're like given to their fans. But most of these artists are up there for an hour. You know what I mean? And they get days off, and you know, granted the sleep. And that's another thing, having babies, like for the listeners that have babies, I get it. You can't sleep sometimes. You just can't. So, you know, so on top of that, and then at the end of the year, the gigs really picked up on the corporate scene for all the holiday stuff. And I had to do a lot of announcing and a lot of emceeing and a lot of hyping. And that's what actually, while I was introducing people on to the dance floor, onto the stage, I had a vocal hemorrhage, and my already developed polyp exploded pretty much. So here I am, it just boom, and I felt it, and it hurt. It felt like somebody was like cutting my vocal cord with like a very razor sharp.
So it was a sharp feeling, really
sharp feeling, yeah. And I just knew something was wrong when I went home. I told my wife, I'm just like, something happened tonight, and I have to go get checked out. So
who'd you go see? Go see Nazari or Sugarman?
I've heard of both. Gupta is who I went to, yeah. And she's like, basically, you need surgery right now, you know, or you don't talk for a week and don't sing for the rest of the year. And this was like 1st of December, and I had all these gigs lined up, you know, to make that dough. So,
shit.
Yeah. So it was a very emotional.
Oh, it's the worst. I wish I had known. I would have been like, you know, God, I wish I had known, because that's the worst thing to go through. People don't.
It was. No, it was tough. It's like, it's basically, you know, a track star that is scheduled to, or a football player that's scheduled to make all this money, and they tear their ACL and they're out for the year, you know? And I didn't talk for a week, and I ended up, you know, I play drums a little bit, and there was a spot at Mastro's where it's a 3-piece thing.
Yep.
And I came in and I started playing drums there, and like not talking, not hanging out, anything, and just rested. And, you know, it healed up for the most part, but I still have the polyp. I didn't get the surgery because it's like $10,000, and it's the recovery time is crazy. So I would have to take another 2 months off of work, you know. So, and that's, to me, that's like canceling, I want to say 20 gigs, you know what I mean? So
how's the polyp affecting you if you still have it?
Basically what happens is that I just get hoarse quicker and easier.
Right.
You know, so I'm forced to, I cut back some of my nights, you know, and we find other ways to, you know, for income and stuff like that. So cut back my nights by, I want to say, like 15%. So, you know, I'm only taking, you know, 4 gigs a week instead of 7 or 6, you know what I mean? So, doing that, and then just making sure I still have like a Scotch on a lot of my gigs.
Okay.
You know, and
you're drinking my margarita. I understand.
Straight up, man. Like, you know, it's funny because different people have different, you know, ideas. One doctor said never smoke, never drink, and then one doctor says doesn't matter what goes over your cords, really. You know, it's matter how you use them. Which I kind of get. You know, I'm gonna smoke a little weed here and there, man. So I'm gonna listen to one, you know. But so I don't know. But I feel like with the Scotch thing on my gigs, as long as you don't overdo it, you're not getting drunk. Like I don't get drunk on the gigs. It basically like clears me up. Like I feel like the mucus and stuff kind of starts to fall.
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you know, when doctors and certain vocal coaches or teachers talk about like, you cannot drink, and you go, you've never worked before. You never gigged before. Oh, I get it. That's cute. That's cute.
Yeah.
All right, I get it.
Or you don't drink on, you know, occasionally, like they don't understand.
Yeah, the polyp isn't fruit. I mean, in over time, I bet you over time, because hearing you and knowing you, you know, as long as I've known you and listened to you sing, I bet you it clears up on its own, because that happens all the time.
Yeah.
I had a friend of mine in New York who's much older than you, not too much older than me, but you're a lot younger than me. He had a polyp that he was like super nervous, you know, distraught, didn't know what he was going to do.
Yeah.
Took some time off, but then he still had to keep singing.
Right.
And I'm like, dude, your technique's really good. Like you're not killing yourself. Like, you sound, and you know, I think he just kind of made himself forget about it and just went about his business, did his thing, made sure not to, you know, go hard and over drink, obviously, and things like that. Things that would make a problem for you.
Yeah.
And he went like, I don't know, 18 months later, he said, I think I should go to the doctors, get checked out. Polyp was gone. Doctor was like, it's gone.
Wow.
So,
yeah.
They can go.
There's hope. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's been a year, and I feel like it's still there, but it's manageable. You know, that one doctor, Gupta, said, you need the surgery, and it scared the shit out of me. And I went to another doctor to get, you know, because some of these doctors, you know, they have a quota to make too, and it's a business and all that. So that scared the shit out of me. So I went and saw another lady that said, you know, if you can manage with it, if you can, you know, if it's not that uncomfortable, then you can keep singing on it. That Gupta said, if I keep singing, it could affect my other cord and do irreversible damage, was the words she used.
Yeah, dude, that's just all the scare tactics. It's the same scare tactics that some coaches use. You need vocal lessons. Blah, blah, blah,
Right.
blah. It's like, I get students sometimes and I go, sing something for me. I'm like, you don't need vocal lessons.
Right.
I go,
right.
Let me do this one little warm-up thing, maybe this warm-up thing. Go.
Yeah.
Your voice is awesome. Like, don't do that. And did you go see Dr. Barbu? Was the other lady?
That sounds familiar.
Anka Barbu, I think her name is.
Yeah, that was her.
She's great.
Yeah.
She's cool.
She's totally cool, and that's the one that's basically like you can live your life, or you can do the surgery if you'd like.
Yeah.
You know,
she deals with, like, she was with Dr. Zeitels in Boston, who in New York, who actually did the Steven Tyler, all the Steven Tyler stuff with his surgeries. You ever see that thing, the human voice on Steven Tyler, and they do a whole special on him. Oh,
they do a scope. They do a scope and everything.
They do this whole special on him. How many times, like they put some stuff on him, and how many times the vocal cords hit each other during a performance.
Oh my God!
And then they scoped them before, during, and after the show.
Yeah.
And like, you know, and she worked with that. That was her internship, was with that guy. That guy he's done every surgery, like, all the big ones. What's her name? The one that
Adele
did it. He did Adele. He did all the big ones. And
yeah,
Sam Smith, Adele, all those.
yeah,
People. And that's who she worked under. So she knows. She's been around real, the singers. I think, you know what I mean?
Totally.
And could
yeah.
Steven Tyler sang like that for 30 years, so it's no problem.
Right. Yeah, I just think it's how you manage it, really. There's some nights where, I mean, unfortunately, I got sick this weekend and I had the New Year's gig that I could not cancel, and it ended up like really kind of irritating it a lot. But that, when you get sick, it is what it is.
That's not going to get, you can't do about that.
No.
Do you do any getting back to the technique? Is there any warm-ups that you do consistent? Like, I always do this one. I always do this one.
I basically, because of the injury, I do a lot of humming and just vibrating the chords, and starting super low, just almost getting it to warm up that way. Like you can even hear all the stuff that's on my chords right now, because I just naturally have stuff on them all the time. So a lot of humming, and then just going into. Basically, I just make sure to get into my mix. Like, by the end of the warm up, if I feel comfortable in my mix, if we're talking speech level singing, terms or whatever, it's just making sure I flip smoothly, because with me, before I warm up, my transitions are a little shaky, and then once I warm up, if they get smooth, then I stop. And sometimes that takes me 20 minutes. Sometimes that takes me 10, So depends on what kind of night I had before, or how much sleep I got, or
you find like the night before, if you're pretty shot, it takes you a little bit longer to warm up.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. I got, like, after that New Year's gig, I had a gig I couldn't cancel the day after. So that was like just horrible. I mean, it sounds like you're killing a whale in my car. Like, it sounds like,
isn't it funny? Like, I would think that's so funny. Like, if I recorded you, or like I would do with me when I'm warming up in the car in a gig, backstage or behind the building, or wherever I got to do it to get it done.
Yeah.
And like, I'm like, if anybody heard this, they would be like, that guy's not a singer.
Totally. I'd be fired from all of my future gigs. It's scary. It like, especially I love carpooling with people, like musicians heading to a gig, but I'm like, bro, I'm just warning you now, like, it's gonna get weird in here for about 10 minutes. Like,
it's gonna get weird.
It's gonna get weird, bro. So here we go. And usually they're cool about it, but it's pretty embarrassing. But what I realized too, from all of my training with Dave and all them, if your warm-ups sound good, you're not doing it right. Like that's what I'm always told, always been told. So the more I always tell myself, the more cracking and the more crap that you put out there while you're warming up, the less you're going to do it during the gig.
Yeah, that's kind of a good way to look at it.
If you're like safe, with your warm-ups, you're like, hoo, 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 like, I'm ready. Like,
that's just perfect.
Screw that, dude. Like, get through all your cobwebs. That's what I like to call them. So.
Okay, yeah, I've heard that before. I've heard people say that, like, scream. Like, I've had a couple guys that just used to scream into a pillow.
Oh wow!
Like, for warming up, they would go.
Oh my!
I'd be like, "What are you doing?" They're like, shaking off the cobwebs.
That sounds like my dad. My dad just does one thing. He goes, "So man," and then he goes, "I'm ready." He takes a shot of Jack and says "Soul Man," and then gets on stage.
And I saw a clip of your dad. He came to Mastro's and sang with you.
Yeah, hell yeah.
He was great.
That guy's crazy, dude. He's so crazy. People, sometimes people just got it, and he's older now, and his voice, he's a little like flatter and stuff like that. If like, he just doesn't really care much anymore. Right. So that's gonna happen. So I wouldn't suggest just doing "So man" and then being done, like, straight up.
It's funny. Some people don't need to warm up at all.
Yeah.
Some people.
I'm a big warm up person. I have to warm up.
I am too. I'm ridiculous. Like I think I'm less than I used to be though. I would say 10 years ago I was a lunatic. Like I would warm up almost longer than I would sing the gig, and I was like back then I was like you, gigging 5 nights a week.
Yeah,
Boom,
yeah,
flying around in Vegas to Utah to boom to boom. I was always on a plane.
yeah.
And
Right.
I was always I had no fun. Like no fun. I was always
no. Oh no, warming up's never fun.
Yeah, now I'm like I have my little warm ups that I do. I just talking with Ralph from Steel Panther today, and he says he only really does one, and it's just like doing falsetto and from the top down on like a
Right.
They go ooh.
Yep, that's
crack,
basically me
he'll
too.
Crack, he'll crack, and once it smooths out, then he says, "Okay, now I can go sing."
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, and I feel because singers that sing a lot like that's what I feel like they should do. They shouldn't do a 30-minute MP3 of some kind of warm up or something. Like in my opinion, like I was telling myself, since my last year's problems, like just like I'm gonna sing a lot, so let's get through this first set. Like my first set's always my warm up too. You know what I mean? Because I'm singing for 4 or 5 hours, and it's just me and another singer, and we switch off. At these regular gigs I have my residencies. So, I figure, let's just get through some of the cobwebs on the first one.
Yeah, maybe to warm up through the songs. Do you feel like when this is some questions now that people write? When you sing we have to do the Journey song all the time. We always have to do the Bruno Mars. Do you feel like different setups, like different way, like you sing, say Steve Perry, as opposed to the way you're going to sing Bruno Mars, as opposed to where you're going to sing Stevie Wonder tune?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like with say the Steve Perry stuff, I try to sing super clean and not put a lot of air on it. Is
it more like the place, like, okay, not speech level, but is it more from the place that you speak from? So you're kind of, it's more like, I don't know how to.
I know what you're saying. That's when I use my training the most is with Steve Perry stuff for sure.
Okay.
That's when I almost take all of my style out of it and try to just hit the notes really. Okay. And then when, on the higher stuff, because that's when I'm purely, doing this kind of, when you go mum,
right.
Like when I think of doing, Don't Stop Believing, I think mum, like hardcore.
So
like just mums.
Very kind of dopey feeling. So you get into that real heavy, like that mix easily, like.
Yeah. Totally. And the loudness will come naturally because of the style of the song and everything. Right. But like really, if I'm not in that space, I can't hit those notes. You know what I mean?
Right.
But when it comes to like an Al Green tune, I put all my flavor on it as far as like my rasp, my natural singing voice, really, the way that I deliver music. You know what I mean? And I even do that with like, not so much with like Maroon 5 stuff, but Bruno Mars for sure. I mean, there's moments where you need to flip into that. I mean, his stuff is really high too, but I don't know. I just feel like it's weird if you do too much mum on that shit.
Yeah, like it's like I like talking with you about these kind of things because of everything you sing. So like thinking of like a Stevie Wonder. Like Stevie when you're singing. And if you're doing you and I or one of those like that, and you have to keep that. He keeps that really compressed mixed voice tone.
Yeah.
Is that the same mixed voice tone that you're using for Steve Perry?
It is, yeah. So basically, it will come out a little more soulful because that's just how my voice is built. Like yeah. So
it's not your voice is built with that depth that you get from that mix. Like it's really like I just feel like that darkness comes up and then you to hear this boom, as opposed to like someone that might sing the Steve Perry stuff and get real wide, get real like Broadway. You get that kind of sound. You know what I mean? You don't have that. You go the other direction.
Yeah, and I feel like if I did do that, in which I have done, and paid for it, because then I'm shot, that whole wide stuff.
Yeah, I was more that way for so many years. Like,
Yeah, and I just can't handle it.
yeah,
I think it's maybe I smoke too much weed or something.
no,
But
it's not. It's funny because I was there so much that like,
yeah,
but I was trying, like, when I would go to my lessons, all
yeah,
my coaches would say, "Yeah, that's right, that's right." So I just thought I was doing the right thing. I think it was just a hearing thing. Like they weren't hearing that I wasn't going to the right place.
right, right.
And it was like it's been a conundrum for me because I went through some vocal problems about 4 years ago too, like real bad.
Okay, yeah,
I didn't have a full hemorrhage, but I had a hemorrhage, and
okay,
it was from acid reflux, which you could
yep.
very well. I had that.
Which
But
I
sang
had
on
that
it.
too.
Then I sang on it like
Mm-hmm.
hard for like a week, and I knew I shouldn't have been. And then
Yeah,
I went, and it was like, oh, they're like, it's not bad. It looks like a hemorrhage on the heel, so it never really bled heavily into the cord. I never felt any pain.
okay.
But when I looked down it in the scope, it was Nazari, and he was like, he goes, I
Yeah,
wouldn't call it a full hemorrhage, but look how red this cord is as a,
right,
and the same thing,
right.
just singing on that feeling like, you shouldn't be singing, but you got to make the money.
Yep,
And you just,
yep.
I'm just going to sing through this. And by the end of like 2 weeks after that acid reflux kind of attack that I had, and then about 2 weeks later, I was like, I couldn't get into any mix or anything. And I was like, something's up.
Yeah, for sure. And the first thing that goes for me is my falsetto, because I get my cords are just swollen and they just can't.
Yeah.
They can't. There's no air coming through them really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gets all mushy.
It's scary.
Let me see what else. Anything you want to say, like, to any singers out there that you think like would help them along, young people?
I will say I found a drink that is the bomb.
Oh, cool! I want to.
And it works really, really well. And I was told this by like a death metal singer, because he noticed I was getting hoarse a lot. There is this stuff. It's called stabilized aloe vera gel, and yeah,
aloe vera gel.
Yeah, it's stable. You have to get it stabilized because it doesn't have the same effects, but it's made by like Forever Aloe Vera or something. It's in a yellow little tub, and I don't have one on me.
Did you get it at Whole Foods, or did you get it on Amazon?
So yeah, Amazon is where you get it. Or a little. It's funny. They're all in like little Mexican markets. Like this guy couldn't talk after singing for so long or something, and he was on the streets, and he was trying to ask this lady in Tijuana for something on the street, and she noticed that his voice was gone, and this, like an angel, she was like, take this special stabilized aloe. and he seriously, like, what you do is you 3 times a day you gargle it 3 times, and you do like I don't know, like a gulp, you know what I mean? And your voice will be smooth as hell.
So you gargle and
smooth as eggs. Yeah.
So you gargle it and drink it.
Swallow it, yeah.
And swallow.
It'll make you poop really well as well.
Great,
so.
I love that. That's always
for those of our young listeners that are having time pooping.
Yeah, no, they don't. My daughter,
no.
She's 20, and she always is like, I don't have that problem. And me and my wife are in the bathroom for an hour.
Totally. That's how it is, man. Shoot. But that is the jam.
Okay.
And then this stuff, I was ready for your video.
Oh,
so I was gonna
I knew you'd be.
I was gonna show
throat coat, basically.
Yeah, it's cool. You have to do it like every 15 minutes for a long period of time.
If you're really hoarse.
Yeah, and it kind of works. It just takes forever, and it's expensive.
He's showing me a box. It says sore throat relief, throat calm, and it says Boiron the bottom.
Yeah.
BOIRON. 60 quick dissolving tablets, non-drowsy, no known drugs, melt under your tongue.
It's all natural. You get that at Whole Foods.
Okay.
But I really suggest the stabilized aloe. I swear to God, if every singer could use it, they should. I mean,
I'm gonna.
check it out. The thing is, it's kind of rare on Amazon, so I think they might be stocking up. I think in January because they said that they were out or something. I'm the one that's buying all of it, I think. But it's like $20 for this little jug, which kind of sucks. But I swear, it totally works.
Pretty much just when you feel like you're getting hoarse, or do you use it like I'm going to use this every?
You use it every morning and every night before you go to bed.
Okay.
Yeah. But when you're really hoarse and you're feeling it, you do it 3 times a day for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then as far as singers, you say listen to Peebo Bryson.
Peebo Bryson, man.
That's
that shit's hella dated, but like, straight up, you can't get any better than the Aladdin shit, man.
Yeah. I have a friend of mine that says the same thing. Another friend of mine, his name is Otis, and he says the same thing.
Yeah. That generation was really cool. I mean, they were kind of after the whole old soul stuff, so they were kind of doing the new age R&B, like James Ingram and stuff like that. Yep. Blaze, you want to come up in the mix, buddy? Yeah. One of my boys woke up.
Awesome.
And then I was gonna say Donny Hathaway for sure. Absolutely. And then he's holding a microphone.
And he's got an SM. What is that? 56.
SM Beta 87A. I was gonna suggest this to my singers as well.
That's right. I love that mic. It's my favorite vocal.
Yeah. And then this guy this is what I record all my jams on.
SM7, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the one.
Yeah. What's up, Blaze?
Say hi, Blaze. Who else? Donny Hathaway. Listen to him. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
And where can people find you? Do you have a Twitter, Instagram?
Yeah, Instagram's kind of my most updated social media platform for sure. So it's Greg Scott Music Instagram. So Greg Scott Music, and you can find my Facebook through that as well, Greg Scott Music. Okay. And then my website, I'm going to be releasing some stuff in April this year. So the website will be all updated, and you'll hear all about it. And there's going to be new videos, and cool. And on Instagram too. I think you've shown the videos, or you're going to be showing them the cover.
They sent me, and also I don't think it's on there, but I want to tell people like your Caliway video.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. Like if you haven't heard this, go to YouTube, go to Greg Scott Caliway, right?
Yep, Greg Scott Music Caliway.
Caliway, and it is a cool video, man. That's a Stoney video.
Thanks, dude. Heck yeah.
And my daughter listened to it with me. I go, Hannah, check, because you know how you're trying to get your kids into music, as you'll soon see. It's really hard. Yeah. So I was like, Hannah, just listen to this opening. She goes, I really like this. She's 20.
Oh, cool.
Like, this is cool, man. I'm like, that's a great video, great song.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
That was actually interesting as far as vocals go. I just recorded that like super early in the morning, and I was just really tired still, and like just didn't sing with any power at all, and it came out great.
It was perfect video.
If you want to check it out, it's very, very Stoney. Yeah, like you said.
It is, and just when they see it, people go watch it, and you'll be like, oh, okay, I get it now. It's cool. It's very cool.
Yeah. Thanks, brother.
Well, dude, thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate it, man.
Thanks for thinking about me.
Absolutely. Sure. And I always do, man. I always tell everybody, and I guys like Robbie Angelucci, and I always, when I see him, I go, tell Greg I said hi, because I see him. Nice. So hopefully we'll get to see you. I'll get to see you soon. Maybe we'll be on another wedding gig together, corporate gig or something.
Yes, sir.
That's always
hell yeah.
All right,
man. Good luck to all the singers out there too.
All right, man. Take care.
Say bye, Blaze.
Bye, Blaze.
Say bye. Bye.
All right. Take care, man.
Later, man. Bye.
But every time you lie me, the lesson I cry. And every time you leave me, the quicker these tears dry. And every time you walk out, for less I love you. Baby, we don't stand a chance. It's sad, but it's true. I'm way too good at goodbyes. I was choking in the cloud, feeling my rain up in the cloud, falling like